Hello guys and welcome back to another one. So we're going to do a quick recap of patch 2.5.1.0 and we're going to talk about this update notice which is focused almost entirely to All Out War and Day of Trade. We have All Out War running right now, so we can see those changes firsthand. And we already had a round of Day of Trade where the new changes were implemented, with having player base really happy about those changes, me included as well, because they were really good. So let's talk about those changes first. They improved the screen display of the trade. Now it looks a little bit more clear. The shadows and all that are adjusted. They look more clear now and better. They improved the rules of Day of Trade. Now improving, I don't know if it's called improving or a bit changing. Now you have to fight, quote unquote, fight more kingdoms. So it's easier to find people to plunder, but it's also easier for them to find you to plunder. But they added something very important to that part, which is something that many people liked and were very enjoyed when they saw it. So they added the insurance function of Day of Trade. Now you can choose one of goods to insure, but resources cannot be insured. Who cares about resources? Insured goods would be still recoverable after, even if they're plundered. So that means, let's say I have a cart full of resources, some speed ups, and I have, for example, a weapons chest, which is what most people are going for. You can now insure that said item for 500 blue diamonds. 500 blue diamonds is actually nothing, the cost is negligible, but the ability to lock one item and insure it per card, so you can insure 4 items per day, but 1 per card, is something extraordinary. Because now you can, with some rerolling of course, you can secure 4 weapon chests per day, which is something that nobody was getting usually, because their cards were getting plundered all the time. And since the attacker has an advantage, you would be easily plundered by the enemies and possibly lose your boxes or whatever you want to get out of it. So I see some people insuring now red dust, which is something that you rarely get for free, and weapon boxes as well. This change was amazing and many people were excited that was added. They also adjusted the number of attacks from wilding seeds from 30 to 20 rounds and adjusted the points, of course, required for the rewards. The rewards didn't change themselves, but from change the 30 rounds down to 20 makes the overall event less than 2 hours now, because it used to be about 2 hours of gameplay to finish one wildling seeds run. So this adjustment, reducing it by 33%, is really good. They also improved some pop-up tips of expire time for the vouchers that you get, and they improved the translation and display from some screen texts, which of course again is very useful when we have diversity with a lot of people talking different languages. Now for the all-out war improvements. So on the all-out war improvements, they added the individual logistics rankings in All Out War. These rankings were missing because of course people are always taking care of who is fighting and who is killing people, but they don't take account to the people of healing troops, stamina refill, and recover resilience and stuff. This is a huge part of All Out War, of course, and people that were very good at it should be also rewarded for their efforts. The All Out War's warehouse has a new function now, where the lieutenants and lord commander of the faction can move resources from one warehouse to another. This is really good because in the past we had to load carts, walk all the way, walk back, and so on. And yeah, maybe at the start it was not that many resources, but at the midpoint of all out war, having to transfer 500 million grain, for example, was a huge deal because it would take 250 carts to move that in a good amount of time. I mean, so this passive ability to move resources from one warehouse to another is something that was very much needed, and it was a very good addition to the game. They added the world progression and contribution shop entrance during the results of phase. That means when the All Out War ended, you can now get the rewards from world progression and contribution shop. Because in the past, when All Out War finishes and was on the result phase, you could no longer access those and you would lose these rewards. Now you can get them just by clicking on the buttons that will appear after the results phase. And last but not least, they reduced the healing time for the All Out War hospital. They don't really say how much was it. I was not paying that much attention, to be honest, but especially on the big battlefield, I think I got all my troops killed, or almost all my troops killed in the first week. So getting a substantial healing buff for the troops in All Out War Hospital was a very good addition to keep the event active for more days, since people are going to be able to heal their troops for cheaper in terms of days needed. And last but not least, something that I didn't talk at the start, but is equally important, is the Kasana's exclusive weapon, Starry Bracelet. Now, this is a very controversial part. Many people were not happy to see the Kasana weapon already existing, since Kasana was the latest commander that came, because as you're going to see here, no Salar weapon. As you're gonna see here, no Vorian weapon. So why Kasana gets her weapon before those two commanders? We have no idea, of course. But my guess is that Kasana was made to counter especially the Vorian formations. And just by getting Kasana to 4 stars, it would help to counter Vorian setups, but it was again not that amazing. She was strong, of course, but not extraordinary against those Vorian formations that like 90% of strong inf players are running now. So with your new Starry Bracelet, it's gonna give you cavalry attack and total health, and of course it's gonna have the possibility to give cavalry stats up to 12 base attack, which is huge, and the usual cavalry attack, total attack, the reduced spearmen versus cavalry, and the reduced enemy versus cavalry versus bowmen, of course. But nobody, no change here. It's something that we always had. So moving to her 4-star ability, at the 0 stars, you're going to see a slight increase of the coefficient from 200% up to 230, and the reduction for each additional target hit from 50% down to 40%. So it's gonna increase the initial hit from Kasana by 30% just at the 0-star tier, which is of course really good, but something extraordinary happens when the weapon gets up to 4 stars. So the commander active army skill now is reduced by 3 seconds instead of 2 for the entire battle, and the coefficient goes up to 300%. Going to 300% is 100% difference from the base Kasana stats, which is of course really strong. They are going to remove the if you hit multiple targets per se, because here is going to see reduced by 40% for each additional target hit. Now at 3-4 stars it's completely reduced, so Kasana is gonna rain havoc against 3-way defenses, or even people that have 4 troop types in their castle. They're going to take a lot of damage at the start of the battle, and it's gonna have an additional effect that when your allied female commanders have cast active army skills 40 times in total, they will immediately cast active army skills again for a 300% coefficient once again. So Kasana is going to really explode the female formation. Your female commanders will non-stop use their active arm skills and deal as much damage as possible. Personally, I think that's kinda strong for the moment. We have to see, of course, how it's going to plan out in the real world, but that increase in base coefficient plus the removal of the reduction per multiple targets hit is gonna make Kasana really strong, especially when you have commanders like Dany and Cersei hitting multiple lines at the same time. So as I said, we'll have to see, but I wanna see Warren weapon and Sarar weapon to level a bit the playing field, because for right now, whoever managed to max Kasana weapon first is gonna dominate pretty much everything, especially the inf department. So that pretty much covers this patch, the 2.5.1.0. As I said, other than the stereo bracelet that I think that needs a little bit tweaking in my looks, all the other things, all outward improvements and especially the off-trade improvements were very good and very important for the player base to keep them happy and satisfied, especially giving them out more and more rewards on those two events. So thanks for watching, guys. This is again 10-minute or a bit longer update notice video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.
And always hesitating, kryptonite desires set my heart afire.